Good morning, everybody. So it looks like it's going to be another really good day here. Looking forward to this one, to say the least. So let's just get right into it here. Let me just put this link in a couple places, and then we can begin. Drop that in, and just drop it one other place. Okay, we are good. We're live. Good morning, Chuck. So there's a ton to go over, a veritable ton to go over. So I'm just going to start with what I think is important, and then I'll take questions. The biggest thing for me is let's just start here. Okay, Tesla. Let's get rid of the earnings. So he comes out, tweets, stock goes down. Right? What do we do about it? Look, for us that are in the newsletter, okay, this is really simple. Good morning, buddy. What you're going to look for is this. Okay, what we're really going to focus on is this. We're going to focus on very simply this possibly filling the gap. This could just simply base in here and move higher. Obviously, there's going to be some type of saleable event. It's why he did this, right? He already knows that. He already knows he's got something coming. So, the 1116 is where I have the stop set. If it hits there, it hits there, and we'll close these out. Until then, I want to stay in this. I think that this could be over 1600 in a very short period of time. So that's definitely something that I'm going to want to watch. It's important, and I'm surprised you might even get a play out of it based upon what's going on with the EV charging stations and stocks like that. You could see more of a move in this. So I would not rule this out. There may actually even be a trade in here. The other theme that I just want to point out before we really jump into other names. Look, this theme is not going away. I can get rid of this, but the potential of small caps is just staggering. And this is not going away. So don't think it's going away. Names that fit into this criteria as like a double whammy are names like Blink right now. You have a small cap name. People are looking to buy small caps, and you also have the infrastructure bill. So any place you see like a double whammy like that, you're going to see, them bidding up. And you're seeing that kind of action in them. And I think that'll continue, frankly. ChargePoint looks better to me than Blink, just solely from the standpoint of that we're already through the line and we're already through a higher high. But that's not going to change, right? You're through this higher high. But I don't think that this is going to be a one-day thing. We don't know yet. We'll see. But that's really what I would focus on. So they're the names that I'm focused on anyway this morning. Some other names as well. Good morning, everybody. Let's do it this. Looking the short, would you do it off the open? It depends on your spot, bro. It depends on how you're looking at the trade, right? If you're going to sit there and watch it all day long and be concerned about it, maybe not. I mean, to me, after reading what I read this weekend, and I knew on Friday that there was an issue because but the more I read about it, they have major problems, like major. I'm not saying they're going to go away. But to think that you can't come when you break like this on this kind of pattern, it's very bearish, right? You go to a major support. This is roughly where major support is. Okay, so that's very realistic. So it depends on your time frame. I'm not really crazy about shorting stocks down 5% unless I think that there's going to be like a huge event. So I probably won't short it here. I will probably wait for some kind of bounce and then put it on. I like to try to short it if it gets up to here and then starts to roll again. But let's see. I mean, down 5%, it's not where I would short. The last one that we did was here. And, I like that we're up here today and we're already not giving me the opportunity that I wanted, right? We're already falling back down. So I think that this has massive potential to get cut in half again. I mean, I'm just going to be blunt. I think it's a really, really bad report, and it shows major problems with the company. So I think it's a great long-term short. Let's just keep going. Amazon and Starbucks. Well, let's just talk about Amazon, right? Amazon's moving up on the Rivian company. I believe that's the correct pronunciation. They're going public this week. So you're moving up because you have a stake in that. You're not moving up because your company's doing great, right? Even though it's Amazon. But let's talk about why we're moving up and what's going on, right? Everyone can see this trend line pretty clearly, right? You tried to break above it, wicks or what? Price rejection. Finally break above that, and you break above this wick. Look, this can continue to go. And I think it does continue to go until you have earnings. Then after earnings, I think then you're going to have some kind of issue. And I think then that you're going to need to address that issue. But not after earnings, after Rivian goes public. I'm sorry, I need more coffee. So I think it's Thursday they're talking about it. You know, that date can move, but I would be cautious buying it here. I think there's a great short trade the day that Rivian goes public, frankly. But what you're seeing here, Starbucks, look, let's clear this out. You broke down on what? Earnings. Okay, you did exactly what you're supposed to do. You broke above that line. This becomes your entry right here, right? And you filled the gap. And then after you filled the gap, you kept going. You could look at it. I mean, it's not my kind of trade, but it's definitely there, right? I mean, that's there. That's very clear what's going on here. You're above the 21, you're above the 200, you're above the 50. I mean, that's very clear what happened here, that people stepped up and bought Starbucks. So if you see something like that, that's probably a great spot to look. Net. And I'm going to try to get through everyone's names in the first run today. So I really think Net and these companies came in because of the visor news. I think that people were just like, I'm not going to chase these. I'm going to go after small caps because that's where the money is. I really believe that. Now, that said, if you look at what's going on here and you look at what's transpiring, okay, this is where you opened. This is where you closed. It doesn't really get more bearish than that, right? So you need this to disseminate and then move higher. I personally would not be buying this long-term now until I get above this bar, okay? Are there trades there? Absolutely. You could trade around here. If you take out this lower low, it's probably over, okay? Just to put it in perspective. If you take out that lower low, it's probably over. And I would use that as my stop. But other than that, I think you're okay. I don't know that it's going to break down. I just think it's time for small caps to shine a little bit. And you're seeing that this morning, and you're seeing that in the action this morning. So let's look at CAT. See what's going on with Caterpillar. Look, both these names I had in that infrastructure list. If you haven't seen that tweet, you might want to go take a look at it. These names can absolutely go up on this news. I mean, no one's going to really benefit more from this. Think about it this way. When you go and dig for gold, who benefits? The guy that owns the picks and axes and rents them and sells them, right? Okay. That's Caterpillar. That's John Deere. Okay. All these companies are going to benefit from that. URI is going to benefit greatly because you're going to have to rent all kinds of equipment, right? So you can see what that's doing this morning. That's up 20. So, and that could just be beginning. This could just be beginning a cycle. So could Caterpillar. So you need to look at that and understand that. You want to own the store that sells the picks and axes. You don't really care about, doing the actual work. Let's just keep going. I definitely think you're 100% dead on that. If you're looking long-term and you're willing to buy a slow mover, you need to be looking at Caterpillar. But I would look at it on pullbacks. Well, hey, Daniel, here's the thing. This LYV, I thought about that this morning, okay? Let's just go through a couple things. All right, you opened up at 123 or 120 on this news, and it was bad. I don't know if you saw the other part of that where they're saying that this security guard may have been attacked and drugged. This is going to unfold. I don't know that they're going to be liable for anything. I really don't know. It seems like there was an actually coordinated thing that happened there. And you might want to listen to, if you're really that interested in the story, the Houston police chief came out and said it point blank that, he thinks that this may have been planned. and they're trying to figure out exactly what happened. So I don't know what happened. I understand it does not look good for the company and you could sell down today. I don't know that I'd be shorting it. I don't know that I'd be doing that. I may actually utilize this to possibly add or start a position today in that. I'm not entirely sure that being on the other side of that is the right move. You know, if it comes out and finds out that they were grossly negligent, then yeah, they're going to have an issue. But coming out and saying, oh, they have all these OSHA violations, everybody has OSHA violations. Anyone in the industry that looks into OSHA, it's how they get paid. So, I mean, that's the least of the concerns, right? It's just a nice way of saying it. I still think you can get up to here. We'll see. We're not getting really the pop that I thought we'd get. So that leads me to believe that these might fade a little bit. You know, I thought we'd get a much bigger pop off of that. And we didn't. And ASTE, let's take a look, Daniel. ASTE, yeah, this looks like, it's a beast, right? After earnings, and look at the volume. Yeah, I mean, it tells you that it's grossly underdone. Maybe it's the fact of the earnings beat or the revenue or their projections. I don't know. Frankly, I don't even know what industry they're in. So, but you can see this pretty cleanly, right? So, yeah, you broke it, and now you're above this higher high. I mean, this is really what you need, that, and you've done that, right? So, yeah, this has potential. This has real potential, Daniel. Nice catch. Morning, Bob. AMC, hey, John. I did get your DM. Thanks, John. So, yeah, I mean, look, I think this can still go. I mean, I hate to say that, but it's definitely something that I'm interested in. And I do think that, yeah, it can move. Look, I really believe that they're going to come out and say we're no longer in a pandemic. I don't think they're going to do it this year. I think they're going to do it early next year. And I think these small caps are going to fly on it. And I think we're starting to position ourselves for that kind of news. I think that's what we're seeing. So that's really where I stand with it. You know, at some point that statement's going to be made. People are going to want to go back to the movie theaters. They were talking about the other day, you know, their highest gross is just starting to come out. People are running to the movie theater just to get the heck out of the house. So absolutely. And you're coming out with blockbuster movies again. On top of that, you have an enormous short position. I don't know what they're thinking being short this anymore. I really don't. Look, this was your support level. You held it. You're back through the 50-day and you're forming a flag. Okay. And you form that flag right here. So yeah, this can go. This could absolutely go again. So, and let's go here. You and RBLX. So good morning, Ken. Look at you. I like this trade. You know, you're coming out with earnings. Your earnings are tomorrow. Yeah, that's up to you if you play that or not for earnings. These are my levels over here, but I can't touch it before earnings. Maybe trade it today, but that's it. You can't do anything with it. You know, the system went down. You went right to this line and rejected, and that was the end of the trade for me. I got out of the trade. I actually bought it on this break, and then it just didn't hold, so I just closed it. So, and it turned out to be the right move. I don't like this. I don't like this pattern. To me, this looks like something that could break. So APPS is broken. Okay. I mean, there's really no other way to say it. Okay. I mean, that's just broken. Maybe it holds here, maybe it doesn't, but it's not something I'm going to go near. TTD. So, you know, we've been waiting for this move. And of course it happens when you're not expecting it. And here it is. Am I buying this up 22%? No, I am not. So it's one that we missed. You know, I tried to catch. I just was unable to catch it. Maybe after it settles up for a day or two, there might be a spot that I could look at possibly putting a trade on. But right now, no, I can't buy that. I can't look at that. I mean, I can look at it. I just can't buy it. Plug. Sure, let's do plug. So plug. You know, that's where you closed. This is where you're trying to open. You're not really running on this news, right? It's almost like it's baked in, or they're just not sure how to treat it. I actually like the action in these names today. Like they're not It's not crazy action, I kind of like that. It kind of leads me to believe that this might go on a little bit longer than first thought about. So let's consider that. Um, we'll consider that something to think about. So SPWR, you could buy it. You just have to use that low as a stop. Yeah, look, I think this benefits from the grid, or it benefits everything. These companies, maybe it goes, maybe it doesn't. I don't see anything compelling here, right? We're finally holding these levels. We're breaking out. We're coming back down. We're testing support levels and moving. That could keep going. I know a lot of people that own this one, and they're just sitting with it, right? They're literally just sitting with this name, and I don't think that they're wrong, but this was the one that everybody seems to want to own. This is the one that's through the high. It's pretty clean which one I would be looking at, right? I'd be looking at this one versus this one that's got to go through all this nonsense. But this can work, right? You should get to 38 and see what happens. So UPST, yeah, they could jump on good earnings, and grasshoppers could have machine guns. We don't know what's going to happen. Like you just don't know what's going to happen. So you could do this, you could do that. I don't really, that's not going to do anything for you. That's going to drive you absolutely insane, Janice, to think like that. It's completely irrelevant what could happen, right? So they could have good earnings. They could have bad earnings. That's not really a thesis. That sounds like hope to me. This is not something I'm getting in front of before earnings. Maybe they're going to be great. I see a bear flag and unable to hold the 21 day. It could very well pull a TTD and be up 20%. That's just not my kind of trade. Coin, I think, could do very well, but I'm not playing it that way. That's not how I trade. So I like that I'm above the 345.96 this morning. You have earnings this week. Maybe they do a great job of explaining the NFT market. Maybe they don't. We just don't know. So I can't go out there and say, yeah, buy them. They're going to have great earnings. It's just completely reckless. So I did LYV. Hopefully you saw it. Terry, if not, let me know. Yeah, I like both of them. We actually have calls, Bob, on LCID from Friday. We already put a call position on that one. It probably looks like it. Let me just see where we're at. I can tell you exactly. Hold on one second. I'll tell you exactly where we're in those at and what it looks like we're going to do this morning. I'm going to find them. Give me 1 second here. But I like LCID, and I think it could work. I do. I think that they could work. So let me just see here. Yep, we're in the November 12th 40s at 275. They'll probably open up at a double. They'll probably double off the open. Would I buy them here? No. Mine expire. They expire in 5 days. So I wouldn't buy those now. It's got the move. I got what I needed out of it, right? That's why I like options sometimes. A 4% move will get me 100%. So it's worth it sometimes to take the risk. So Airbnb, very well. I'm stalking Airbnb very closely. I think Airbnb could be one of those stocks that you're looking back as a Google in 5 years. So, they did what they needed to do this quarter. So, well, here's the thing about this. This is a really good question, and I'm going to spend a little time on this, and I'm going to put my scientist hat on, even though I'm not a scientist, okay? The reaction in both these stocks should tell you everything that you need to know, right? Putting my scientist hat on, okay? The issue is that if you read that the trials and the differentiation between the Pfizer drug and the Merck drug, Pfizer stopped their trial because it works. They just stopped doing it. They're like, this works. So they ceased their trials and they're going in front of the FDA with what they have. That's pretty powerful. That's very different than what Merck's done. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing is, if you truly read the Pfizer study and you spend time reading it, anyone that took the pill, anyone that took their protocol, 0 deaths. Okay, some hospitalizations that were cut down by 90%, but they're lumping it together. But if you go through it, there were 0 deaths. That's a game changer. It is a game changer. So something to consider. Good morning, CLF, possible high. Thank you. You know, Cleveland Cliffs, look, it could participate. It could get up to here. It's holding the 50-day, so clearly people are buying it. You know, this could get back up to 26. So you have to see how they play out. GAMB and Oxy. Yeah, I mean, you're holding this level, right? I mean, that's your breakout, but you're coming into earnings soon. There's your level. I mean, that's pretty clean, right? And here's your high tight flag. Here's your flagpole. Here's your flag. I mean, you need it to break out before you do anything, but this is your support level right there. That's an easy one. Oxy, you just need earnings. Are you going to have good earnings? Right? How are you going to have good earnings? Oil's going to go higher. Is oil going to go higher? Maybe. You know, down here we were at a loss of 78 cents. Now, because of what's going on with the oil prices, you know, that's what we're dealing with. 87 cents profit. So could it continue? Sure. But it all depends on oil. That's all. I mean, that's your trade on that. Oh, so they're going to do, yeah, they'll do well. Heavy equipment manufacturer of concrete crushing, asphalt splits. Yeah, I mean, they're going to benefit greatly from what was passed today. So that could be why it's moving the way that it's moving. So, you know, that could continue to move and have a very powerful move. And you have earnings behind you. There's a lot of things there that are going on. So, FSLY. So, you know, this, I'm not sure that this is done. Now, this was our level, and we talked about this post-market when it happened. That was our level, and that rejected that level, right? But I'm not so sure that you just don't build and go higher. We really didn't take out that low. They kind of stopped you out to clear you out, right? But you really didn't take it out. So like a close below that would get me out of the trade. But could this build and go higher? Sure, it could. It might not be over. APRN. So just FYI, this is in the newsletter. You know, look, you have earnings coming up. You want to hold it for earnings? That's up to you. Earnings are tomorrow. And that's a decision everybody has to make. Okay. It's not one that, you know, I can make for you. You either want to take the risk or you don't. So since then, you know, you popped up to here. We were up 10, 15% at one point in the trade. That's really it. Other than that, it's just grinding higher, right? I mean, you can see the patterns. Comes down, grinds higher, comes down, grinds higher, comes down. So, I mean, it's just like it's just stepping up. So I don't know if you're going to want to take the risk for earnings or not. That's going to be up to, you know, everyone's going to think about that. Yeah. TTD crushed. Uber, I'm not really crazy about. So Mark, I'm not really crazy about that. Let's go through it. So I just don't like this 48.17 level. And I was pointing this out the other day. All we have are wicks. So every time we get higher, we just have sellers. Now you're holding the 50-day and not closing below it, and that's good. And your volume's starting to pick up, but that's because of earnings. So see what happens here, but I'm not really crazy about it. To me, I just see constant selling. Let's just see GEVO. All right, GEVO. So, yeah, you got to get over the 200. That's simple. That's an easy one to review. HRI is really having a solid breakout this PM. The setup on the daily was beautiful. Let's take a look. So, yeah, I mean, I get that. That's nice. I don't like how this is happening. This is the only thing that I would point out, Daniel, that would give me pause. And I'm not saying that it doesn't work. I'm just saying that this would be something that would bother me. I can even start from back here. You know, everything has a trend line. So this would bother me, that volume, people are not paying attention to it. the volume's falling off while it's going up. It's not really what you want to see. So unless the volume picked up, it's probably not something that I would be interested in. Doesn't mean it can't work, Daniel. Yep. If you could do me a favor, that'd be great. I appreciate it. If you could like and subscribe to the channel, that would be awesome. I purposely don't run ads on the aftermarket ones during the during the videos, and that's what the algorithm does to show your video for obvious reasons. APPS, yeah, I think that you could go lower. Hey, Martin. Hey, Matt. I think it's very interesting that you're seeing all these groups start to participate, aren't you, Martin? Right? Like that's what we're seeing. We're seeing all these groups start to step up. Equipment makers are breaking out. Okay. This base, it's very interesting to me because what does this chart look like, right? Let's get rid of all these lines and clean this up. Right. We'll get rid of all the annotations. So what does this look like? It's crazy to me that it looks like this, but it looks like this. It looks like small caps. I don't know why it does, but that's the trade that's been going on. If you just very simply take the peak, right, and just say, bonk, bonk, couldn't get above, finally breaks out. This is a huge move through, and breaking through that right from here and then going up. It's exactly what you're looking for. Now look at this, right? This has massive potential. So see if it follows through. But I like it. I like it a lot. I could see why people would be interested in it. I'm concerned about earnings. Earnings haven't really been stellar, right? So see what happens with it, especially with the supply constraints. But I do like it. Oh, you're welcome, Bob. A firm short term, it's just not acting right. A firm short, it's not acting right. So you're getting all these wicks. Maybe it breaks above this 165 and gets above this red, wick today. Maybe today's the day that it does. So that's very possible. Snow I like a lot. Snow has massive potential, in my opinion. I think this has massive potential. I think you could get back up to the highs. I really believe that. So I think in the earnings is going to be a sleeper, and I think people are buying it into earnings knowing that. It's interesting to see with software coming down yesterday with DDOG and Net getting hit, how Snow reacted. I thought that was kind of interesting, right? Brian, it depends on your time frame. Okay, my thought on it and what I equated it to was this. I equated it to you own a company. Okay, you own this company, and the company that you own all of a sudden went profitable. And so you go back and you look through history at other times that you've seen this happen. And what transpires when this happens? Okay, what transpires is usually the same. They continue to go higher. So the only thing I can tell you is that I think it's going higher. I personally think this has the potential to be around for a very long time. So where that puts it depends on your time frame. Okay, to me, to think that this is not going to clear the high at this point is probably delusional. I mean, I just don't see how it's not going to clear this high. With a number like this and the volume, like, look, okay, this is your volume on the day. Okay, I mean, like you'd never had a day like this. So you've never had a day with this much volume, and it's after you had a positive quarter. It tells you who's buying it. Right. I mean, that tells you everything you need to know. So I think it could be a great long-term trade. And I think it could be around a long time. So I think it can go a lot higher. PAVE. Take a look, Ralph. So yeah, global funds, U.S. infrastructure. This could just keep going. I mean, this could literally just keep going. It's going to be a slow grind. But I mean, look at this and look at your channel, right? We can actually draw this really conservative channel right here. And that's pretty conservative. That's about like the most conservative one I can get, actually. And that takes you to like 33, 34. So I have looked at Bird. got to do something. Right now, it's not doing anything. It's kind of like knocking around. I'm not really that interested. Look, you see this? Let's just do it this way. You need at least 30 data points of data or plotting to actually look at something. All I've done is break out, come back down, try to do it again, fail, gap down, and now you're just in this range, right? And you can see where that range is just by going here, right? You can see where your issue is. So that's your issue. Tried to break it, failed. There was your stop, right? And that saved you all this ag. So, and now you're here. So the question becomes, and you can see what's in charge, right? You can see how this bar is in charge. So if you break that level, which we haven't closed below, right? A little bit here. So you have to see how it plays out, but it's not something I would chase or be involved with right now. Thoughts on Vail? Run, right? Just look at it. That's the 15-minute. Run. I mean, run fast. Something is seriously wrong there. Like people just can't get out of the stock fast enough. So every day you have sellers. Even these big spikes didn't stop it. So run away. CGNX. Well, that's how it works, right? They reject until they don't. So, yeah, I mean, again, this is not something looking at that I would go near. For me, this trade's simple. This is basically a long-legged doji. Until I got above that level, I wouldn't even, it's not even on my radar. Wouldn't even be on my radar. Melly ran right to what? The 50-day and rejected. Now you're trapped between the 200 and the 50. Till that makes a decision, I wouldn't touch it. Sophie has earnings this week, right? Don't they have earnings this week? I mean, Melly's earnings were really good. I wouldn't go near this because the earnings are coming up. But it looks okay. I mean, you're forming a flag here. You're above you're above your right. You're above resistance. That's become support. So, but you're coming into earnings. Team's easy. Planter's harder. So what I would do with team is this. You can see how you're breaking down here, right, and coming lower, right? You can see that. So that's not something that I would be looking to be getting involved with. It's doing the exact opposite of what I wanted it to do, right? Which was get above this and go. To me, it looks like it's going to fill and probably fill the gap. And then we could take a look at it from there. But I'm not chasing that. Planter, this is like, you know, look, there's so many shares outstanding that people want to sell and get out of. You know, I mean, there's just massive positions in this. So just consider that. Oh, you're welcome, Joseph. Let's take a look here. VYGVF. Geez. All right, how did I spell this one wrong? Okay, so my dyslexia kicked in. VYGVF. That actually looks fairly good, doesn't it? Like, look at all this volume. I don't know why this is earnings. Did they pre-announce? They must have pre-announced. So, because I mean, you don't usually have earnings like every 30 days. So they must have pre-announced it. And let me just see something here. So this would be May. Yeah, I mean, that would actually be right. So that's interesting. Okay. So I like it. I like how this is crossing, and I like how this is building. So hey, Swage, I bought PPSI last week. I don't know where to put my stop loss. Great news on EV. Okay, so I mean, the rule of thumb that I try to educate people with is Never buy a stock until you know your plan, right? So you just don't never buy a stock until you know your plan. Okay, if that's great news, congratulations on your trade first and foremost. Um, you know, just I think it's great. I mean, that's a huge mover, and you've done exceptionally well with it. My response is very simple to something like this. You have to go and take a look at the 15-minute chart after hours, okay, and pre-market, post-market. So this is what we're doing. This is a very simple trade for me. You just walk it up, okay, and when it goes and you get stopped out, you get stopped out, and that's it, and that's the end of it. This is not going to change the world. It's not going to be the only company that ever uses. You're up 100% on a trade. Okay. So I would use this as a stop. If you thought it had the possibility to go higher, very simple what you do with it. Notice I'm using a 15-minute chart. Very simply what you would do with it. You could use this stop for all, or if you're like, no, I really think it's going to go higher, then you would use this for a portion, anywhere between 20 to 80% of the trade, and then hold on to a portion. If I got stopped out on that, I'd probably do the whole thing. So, but these things can fall down just as fast as they go up. And congratulations on your trade. That's awesome. NUE, hey Jim. Yeah, NUE, look, that's beautiful. I mean, that's doing everything right. I do think that with this bill passed, you're going to need, like if you go through the bill, the infrastructure bill, besides the bridges, you have all the trains, all the passenger trains. You have $66 billion that went to Amtrak. All Amtrak is steel. I mean, that's all it is. So, and this company's run better than U.S. Steel is. So I like this trade. I think this could continue to go higher. You've broken out of the flag and you could push. It could continue to run. So, I looked at GFS and I was interested, and then I just missed the trade. I mean, essentially, this was your buy, right? When you got above that 48 level, this was your trade right here, okay? And I missed it. And then I planned on buying it the next day, and then I think Kramer had the CEO on, and that was the end of it. And then it just took off, and I missed the whole trade. So it happens. Am I chasing it here? No, not even close. So not even close to chasing that. Could it continue to move? Sure, but without me. I'll wait for another setup at this point. I have to wait for another setup. Apple's good. Apple's good. You don't like Apple's chart, Shane? You sound salty. I like it. I mean, it's just basing and building. So you have this, like, let me just show you this. Okay, there's your trading range, right? It's not a coincidence. This is your pre and post range that you're still in it. It's not a coincidence. So I like it. So ME. Yeah, I mean, this is the level that we're looking for. I think that this could continue to move. I liked it when it broke out here. I was looking at it. I was looking at buying it here. I think it looks great. I think it could continue to move, but you're coming into earnings. So if you want to own it into earnings, that's entirely up to you. I can't make that decision for you. DM I tried, and it just didn't work. I actually tried the breakout of the flag personally here, and it just did not work. Right. So it's not something I'm going near. Maybe earnings will drive it and give me another spot. Right. But it just didn't work. Is EOG good to enter? It's a good question. Is EOG okay to enter? Yeah, I like it. It's all going to be on the oil trade and the energy trade. And it's very clear from their statements, from this administration's statements, they have very little interest in getting oil prices down. They just don't seem to understand what it's doing. They have very little interest in it. They just don't. For whatever reason, whether it's environmental, and they're saying that's why they close the pipelines. But it's a real problem for, people that can't afford $60 to fill up their gas tank. and heat their homes, and their bills just doubled for coming into the heating season. So it's a real issue, and it's something that needs to be addressed. It's not being addressed. I don't think it's going to be addressed this winter. I really don't. And I think these could go higher. This is the one we have from the newsletter. We were going to keep that position in the newsletter, and I'm just going to let it play itself out. I think you're fine buying it. Oh, that's good, Jeremy. Good. Oh, you're welcome, Swage. Hey, Derek. DraftKings. I mean, look, let's get rid of all this nonsense. We can see where it came out with earnings and what it did, right? So we can get rid of all these indicators. We can just use our levels, right? This is your major trend line, and you broke it. Now you have this long-legged doji, but this is really what you have. You have an open at the low, and then you went higher. You tried to get back over the line, and what did you do? You rejected it, right? Why do we want to play games? Are you trying to catch a falling knife? I'm not saying it can't be washed out. To see if it's washed out, there's a couple things that I can show you how to do very quickly. Let's just throw these in real quick. Okay, and let's get rid of this volume. And we'll click off all these so that we don't quantify it. So to me, there's a couple things that I would look at to see, right? The first thing is I'm not even oversold, right? I'm not even oversold yet. So this can go lower. The fact that this is actually rising, why this is going down is somewhat interesting to me, right? That does mean that you could bounce to me. And this is according to the MACD, and I just look for these little crosses. I won't get too specific, but when you go from green to red, pay attention. And, maybe if we go back to green, then maybe you could look at it. But it's not something I'd be rushing into right now. So you could think about using those two as giving you some kind of spot. Hey, Joseph, METX. As always, please subscribe to the channel, click notifications. This is not something that I will play with. I can get rid of these. I can get rid of this. I don't play with the little guys. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. It's just to me, there's just so much risk. So yeah, you got a ton of volume coming in. I mean, somebody's playing with it. Maybe it works. Maybe it doesn't. Your real level that you want to see, Joseph, is just getting above here. That's what you're looking for. If you can get above that, maybe you have something, right? But I mean, essentially, it's just an option. And that's how you should treat it, like it's an option. Like maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. So that's usually, if I want to play one of these, how the best way to do it. All right, we're going to wrap up here. Roku and LC. So Roku's toast. I don't care that Kathy Wood's buying it. I've got a couple DMs on this because of last night's call. That chart's toast. Okay, maybe it holds here, maybe it doesn't. There's nothing redeeming about that chart. If the name wasn't Roku, nobody would be looking at this. If the name was Caterpillar, everybody would be avoiding it, right? For whatever reason, we just put associations in our head and we just can't let them go. You need to let this go, right? You're down 50%. Okay. So the chances of this coming back, are slim and none right now. So maybe there's bounces that you can play, but there's no reason to go near this, in my opinion. It's dead. So I'll see. Yeah, I mean, when it comes back down to earth, maybe I'll take a look at it. You're forming a flag right now, and we can just see how that plays out. SBH. Sally Beauty, and so here you are, Sally Beauty, and what you're doing is you could run to here and get to 19. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'd watch that line. I wouldn't be in a big hurry, my friend. I would not be in my big hurry here until you can get through that. NVIDIA, look, NVIDIA you just have to watch. I mean, I like it. I'm going to have to wrap this up. NVIDIA I like. You're just going to have to watch it. I mean, to me, look, I need to hold this level. So far, I'm holding it off the low of the open. Maybe I base here. That's my plan with it. If I don't and I take out that low, I'm probably going to be concerned. Thanks, Joseph. Appreciate that. Yeah, we have a good time in here. actually in the mornings. Get a little coffee, just look at charts, come up with a plan, come back. GPS and PayPal, and then I'm going to wrap it up. You can't go near this. It's a disaster. Maybe if you get above that wick, 2609, get above that, right? And then you could look at it. And PayPal. Naresh, I just can't go near it yet. I mean, it's like, and now you have earnings, right? You're going to buy that before earnings? You're a better man than me if you're buying that before earnings. So I would watch and see how the earnings go, because this could be disastrous the way it's acting. So you're welcome, buddy. Ro, don't go near open. I know everybody's trying to catch the falling knife there. Just avoid it. All right, I'm out of here. I got to jump in the trading room.